Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have a St. Paul Falcon football player who is going into his senior year, the center, Jack Jortner. Jack, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Jack, obviously, I've heard a lot about you. I first heard of you from, the big guy himself, the big tight end, Suze, as I call him. And he's an all-around athlete, plays lacrosse, obviously plays football, plays basketball, because of football and lacrosse. And to be able to make this connection is really cool. And I think we're going to have a great conversation, man.
Yeah, me too.
Before we get into obviously the football aspect, sports itself. I mean, how did sports, let alone just football, because you're a multi-sport athlete, how did sports find you?
I was younger and third grade. I think I started football. I've been playing sports though since kindergarten, as soon as I could rec league. I always just kind of liked running around, hitting people, whatever. My neighbor actually introduced me to football. He told my dad, he's like, let him try it, and then I played it for third through fifth grade, and then like fifth grade, I hit the ground running. I loved it, and I've been playing ever since. I
Now, whereabouts, what town? As
Berlin.
far as, oh, even Berlin. Okay.
I played Berlin youth third through eighth grade,
Okay.
and I won a a conference championship in 2016, and then I went to Berlin High for freshman halfway through sophomore year, and then I transferred to obviously St. Paul's.
Now you said Brown High. Is that, I've never heard of that. Where is that?
Berlin High,
Oh, Berlin. I thought you said Brown
Berlin.
High.
Oh
I was like,
no,
wait, hold
Berlin. That's
on.
my bad.
I've never heard of that school. Is that new?
Yeah, no, Berlin. That's my bad.
Berlin, okay. I'm familiar with. I had a football player on who went to Cheshire Academy, and I think now is at Sacred Heart, who was a big time player. Last names escaped me. First name was Zach.
Oh, Zach Rubiak.
Yes, yes, I had
Yeah,
him
he
on
was
during
the
COVID when he got hurt. I think his senior year, he tore up his knee or something like that.
yeah like the first game.
Yes, yes, but he true comeback story for what he was able to do, and now I'm pretty sure he's at Sacred Heart. Last time I
Yep.
checked, but so for you to then kind of make the way to go to St. Paul, what was the, you don't have to give, if the reasoning was something else, but kind of what was the decision behind you going from Berlin to St. Paul?
I just kind of wanted to change. I loved Berlin football. I played it my whole life, but also like the COVID protocols and stuff. It was just a little bit different at St. Paul's. I was kind of sick of the stuff at Berlin, and I made the switch, and I couldn't be happier. But it was just it was COVID year. Everything was all messed up. I figured why not make a little switch.
How difficult or not as difficult? Because just in my conversations I've had with various St. Paul, not just football, basketball, baseball, I had a swimmer on as well, or a diver. I don't want to get that wrong.
Yeah,
Um, it just seems like they're very welcoming, kind of like how I was telling you about basketball when we went there for the Holy Cross game and the Naugatuck game. They opened us with open arms, and we were basically strangers. We were just a couple of radio guys who just call NVL games, and they loved it. They loved us. They loved the broadcast. Was it for you where they were very open and be like, hey, this is a new person coming into our family. We are going to accept that person. Did you get that same feeling?
yeah. As soon as I walked in, I did a shadow day with a student, and their whole motto is "Welcome home." That's kind of the theme during COVID and all that, and I instantly felt at home.
Mhm.
Um, everyone's nice. The students, the teachers, the faculty, everyone, even the lunch lady, Stella. It's just like the whole community. It's really great. Really
Now,
welcoming.
now, when did you transfer to St. Paul? What year?
My sophomore year, so
Okay.
that January. So I went to Berlin High from that whatever September to January, and then January 25th was my first day at St. Paul's in my sophomore year.
Okay. So you didn't have the opportunity, and the reason why I asked that is because Jude Kelly would if you went to St. Paul your freshman year, Jude Kelly would have been your head coach, but he obviously was not there. He then went off, retired for a little bit, and then now is coaching at Weaver. But did you know as far as the football program at St. Paul by any means?
I had no clue. I didn't know what I was walking into. yeah, it's just kind of like I was just in love with the school, really.
Mhm.
You know, I went there for academic purposes, and I love football, so I ended up playing football. Um, but I had no clue as to I didn't even know who the head coach was. But yeah, that kind of switched.
I mean, the head coach, I don't even think St. Paul knew the head coach was at the time when Jude Kelly was
No,
there, you know?
yeah, and then it was Coach Kennedy, and then during the summer workouts, remember one day,
Mhm.
he went to Crack, and then they named Coach Joe the head coach, and
Yep.
I had already known him from summer workouts, so I was pretty happy with that.
I forgot that Coach Kennedy took over for the time being because, he was one of those coaches that their first season or lack thereof was during COVID. And like you said, he went to Crack and then there was another opening. But what was it like being, for the few months you were with Coach Kennedy? Because he's also a lax coach as well at St. Paul.
I really never talked to Coach Kennedy until
Okay.
actually the last season last year, because Coach Joe was the strength and conditioning coach, so he kind of ran all that summer workouts. So I never
Mhm.
even knew Coach Kennedy, and then I was just told that he was out. So
Okay.
that's kind of how that went. It was like a big surprise.
So your first conversation with Coach Chanciola, who I've known since we were in middle school all the way through eighth grade, and then he went to Watertown. I went to I went to Sacred Heart. What was the conversation like with him? Because I know you're very dedicated to the weight room, obviously football. Chanciola is the same way, dedicated to sports, and obviously the weight room is like his second home, or maybe his first home, depending on the day. How was your conversations, your first one with him? Do you remember that?
I remember it was exciting. Seeing this guy, he's a big weight room guy. Young, excited to kind of take over the team because he had been there for a few years prior. And he kind of got his shot, and he was excited for this new what he could do with the program. And I just remember my first impressions of him were through the summer lifting, and he's all energetic and all that, and it was a nice experience.
Your junior year, and I know it was difficult for St. Paul. I remember seeing your first game against Kennedy, and it was, let's be honest, the first game was sloppy for everybody, for I think almost
Yeah.
every team. If I remember right, I think St. Paul had like 4 turnovers, Kennedy had like 5. It was just an ugly game, but expected coming back from COVID, all that time missed, you got new players, it's expected. But for St. Paul, I almost felt like because of what was returning, all the new players, and with a new coach, just having to build the culture and for players to understand this is what is expected. How was it like through the season with all that?
It was definitely an adjustment. Coach Joe trying to find his bearings. With all that, but like we got shocked the first game. It was really, like you said, it was really sloppy. Kind of cleaned it up throughout the season. Um, but yeah, it was really shocking. So we were just trying to, we all didn't know our head coach for a little bit,
Mhm.
and then we kind of had the rebound from that. And I think we did okay with what we had. We had a few really good players, a few All NBL players. Kind of did our best.
How was it for you specifically being able to be back on the football field because you missed your sophomore year as all seniors who were sophomores at the time missed because of COVID?
It was exciting. I'm not gonna lie. Like I played D line my whole life, and I got my shot at linebacker. So I played outside linebacker that entire year, and so I was in a new position, with a new head coach, and so for me, I loved it. And I played center, which like I said, been playing for 6 years. So I knew that inside out. So it was just like a really fun year for me. New team, new school, just like a lot of energy, a lot of hope.
How was it playing linebacker? Because I feel like as somebody who went from center to linebacker and with everything else going on, not to say that you weren't focusing on the technique and everything that goes into playing that position, but I felt like there were games where you just were like, I'm just going to look for the football, and wherever the football is, I'm just going to go after it.
That's really what I was going off of. Definitely the first few games. You're trying to learn the position. You're like, oh, see ball, kill ball. So I was just running around the field because I was so excited. Like really, I remember I had a conversation with Coach Joe. He was like, I like the way you move. He's like, have you ever tried linebacker? I said, no, I haven't. He's like, we're gonna try your linebacker. I said, perfect. And that's where it went from there, just running around, hitting people, taking on blocks, making tackles. It was awesome.
I could picture Chanciola, just coming up being like, "Hey, because he has a very not that he's monotone, but he's a very when he gets angry, obviously it can get to that point. But he's
Yep.
very not low energy, but just very calm and cool. And he's like, "Hey, I like how you move. We're gonna put you a linebacker." And you're like, "Heck yeah, why not?"
Yeah, that's how it went.
That's awesome. You know what? That's how, and who knows? I mean, as far as for you with colleges, and we'll get into that later, um, who knows? You could eventually, that could come up in conversation if it hasn't already. I know you want to go in as a center. Potentially, you could be on defense, and you have the experience there already.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to play anywhere college is willing to put me. Like I said with my tape, I just want to be able to show that I'm an athlete, show
Mhm.
that, and I'll play anywhere. I moved from last year. I played like 7 different positions. You know, linebacker, D tackle, D end. I played stud, which is like our safety position.
Mhm.
You know, and I played guard and tackle last year. Like I'll play anywhere the coaches want to put me. Like really, I just want to put that together.
Do you feel like between what you and I'm sure you weren't the only one. I'm sure there was multiple players who were getting opportunities and looks and whatnot. Do you feel like going through those growing pains can help prepare this Falcons team for the upcoming season because you guys are now in Division 2. It's a little bit, and I'm not going to say weaker because I don't think any division's weaker. But in terms of class size, in terms of just competitiveness, numbers, I feel like that's a good spot for obviously you, Derby, and then the Waterbury schools and so on and so forth. I feel in Oxford, if I didn't mention them, I feel like it's good because now there'll be not just competitive games, but there's also not this, oh, well, Naugatuck, because I know I've seen teams do this. I've heard teams doing this in the past. Noggy, L, Seymour, L. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen anymore. And even with you guys going up against Seymour in week 1, even though they're not a divisional game, I just feel like there's much more positive energy going into that than I've seen in the past from previous teams and games and such.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of energy. It's called, we were 2-8 last year. That for all of us returning players, that hurt. We did our best, but that's 2-8's not good enough. So we're definitely gonna be pushing, all these games. A lot of us, seniors, we have 5 seniors, right? That's 10 games left, so we just gotta push it. And that's kind of what we've been trying to instill in the team too. Like to these freshmen, to everyone. We gotta push it because we don't want another 2-8 season.
What has been the motto either by the players or Chanciola as far as the kind of as this season is starts next week for you guys? It starts on Thursday.
I don't know if there's a motto per se, but we've definitely had the energy of just go hard, go fast, make full speed mistakes. People are gonna mess up, but we don't take half speed.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do something, do it for the team, do it fast. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, people are getting moved around left and right. So be selfless. It's kind of like what we're kind of putting through.
It sounds like you're getting choked up just saying that.
Yeah, that's a little tickle in my throat.
No, that's got to make Chanciola when he watches this very happy. He's like, one of my players is getting choked up. Just love it. Is there any particular players that because we have you guys on the radio against Woodland later on in the season? I'd have to look at what week it is, but I'm sure it'll come up on us very quickly. The season just flies once it gets going. Is there
Yep.
any particular player or players that we should be watching out for? I should be watching out for when I do
Uh,
you guys game.
yeah, number 4, Jeremy Tavares. He's quick. He's just a speed demon, and he'll juke people. Fun player to watch. Jason Matthews. He's our quarterback this year. Could be a halfback. He plays everywhere. On defense too, he led the team in tackles last year. Definitely a player to watch. Charles Aponte. Varsity. We have like a lot of young guys that are kind of stepping up and really becoming like key components of this team.
You forgot to mention Sue's.
Oh, Suze, I thought he was given. Yeah, Suze is Suze. Arden Pulverari.
Yes.
We run this triple option, so we have two big guards. We have Suze and we have Arden.
He's a
So
football, or no, he's a basketball player too, isn't he?
Arden, yes,
Yes. Well,
he,
they both.
he
Suzio is a basketball player as well, but that's interesting. The both basketball players you said are both the tackles. You said the guards.
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 So
Okay.
they're both next to me. But that's definitely like the light towers of our offense.
I was just about to say, you go wherever you follow your best players. You go behind, like they say in football. When Dallas had Tyron Smith, who's never healthy now, Zach Martin, and then they had Frederick, you kind of went where the strengths were. So you follow behind the tackle, which was Smith, or the center and the guard, which was, like I said, Frederick and Martin. For you guys, it seems like, because now here's the wrinkle for people running triple option, it's not easy because if I always compare it to a symphony, if I'm even saying it right. If one note's off, the entire thing is gone. That's when the line starts to break down.
That's kind of what we've noticed too. This is a tough offense to run. And I think if it's run right, then we can definitely, do some damage. But we've been learning as a team, and especially as position groups like the quarterback and fullback,
Mhm.
you really just got to be in sync because if you don't know what the other person's going to do, it's really not going to work.
Do you feel like because you're on the line with obviously Suzio and Arden, do you feel like that because the biggest thing for the triple option is you have to do it repetition over and over and over, and even when you think you have it down, you really don't. And I'm a guy who I love the triple option. Whenever Army plays Navy, even though it's usually a low scoring game unless it's sloppy and there's usually only like three passes a game, it's old style football. It's literally ground and pound 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Do you feel like the more you guys are doing it, the more reps, the more you're getting comfortable with the trip option?
Yeah, I think we're definitely more comfortable with it than we were a week ago and a week before that. Getting the snaps down with the center because everything's under center. So that's a big adjustment for quarterbacks too, because coming from a spread offense, everything was shotgun, so that's a big adjustment. But we're definitely becoming more comfortable with the pitch timing, with
Mhm.
the fullback dives, everything. It's really coming together nicely.
I would think too, as again, I don't know as far as personally too many offensive linemen. I call them the big uglies, but I don't mean uglies. I mean big uglies like in the best way possible. I feel like they get a lot more joy going forward than they do going back. And what I mean by that is for pass blocking, you have to go back. So there's obviously more technique. Whereas if you're going forward, it's almost like one of the drills where you're just pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? Pushing that huge giant thing, whatever it's called. Do you feel like the offensive linemen get a lot more joy with running the triple option?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of joy in pancaking somebody because our offense is just go go go, forward downhill. So and that's the same for the linemen, that's the same for the running backs, same for the receivers. So as a lineman, we got 4 or 5 guys lined up in front of us, and our only job is to get them on the ground. And I think it's fun. I don't know about the other linemen, but I do.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking between Arden and Suzio, that's a lot of size. And I don't know who the tackles are, but do you have size there as well?
Yeah, we have Matthew Bishop. He's got to be at least 220 at a right tackle. I think we have Brian Kowalski, who's another 220, 225 at our left tackle. We have a lot of size. I'm by far the smallest lineman, but we have a lot of meat up front.
So, to go back to the comment about the offensive line and going forward, it's one of those things where you could literally control the game because in a time where the clock doesn't stop even on first downs, you could, and I've seen it, you could burn an entire quarter on one drive, especially if you're converting on third down, which the triple option, you're not going to get a first down every play. But if you make it second and five, third and manageable within the 3 yard line around there in the middle, you guys could really control the pace of the game and really take the air out of the football.
That's definitely our goal. Going forward, we want to be able to control the game. We want to be able to exert our will, on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the size we have, and with the players we have, with the coaches we have, I think we have a really, really good shot at that.
Jack, I really do appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. Before I let you go, I do want to talk about colleges really quick with you. I know you were telling me we don't have to mention the two schools, but I know you said there's a couple opportunities potentially for you. If you do have, and I think you will have a great season, I think St. Paul is going to surprise a lot of people. And I know some have, and I've seen on Twitter, they've kind of mocked Division Two, and I've been against that. And I don't like that because these are still kids. This is still football. They don't want to be laughed at because they're in a different division. I thought we're supposed to be thinking everybody as equal, like this is a good thing. This is more opportunities for kids. But I digress. I could be on my soapbox all day. Do you feel like that if you put, which I said you will, I think, as far as tape, which you want to do you feel like there could be more opportunities for you, no matter if it's center, linebacker, or whatever?
I really do think I have a good, good opportunities. I mean, I think I'm poised for a good season. I know what I'm doing. I know who I'm doing it with. I think I have a good group behind me. And I think that I really should have some opportunities opening up in these after these first few weeks, after the last few weeks, going into the next school year.
Well, Jack, this has been a lot of fun. Best of luck this football season, as far and also too with the school year as well. And I'll be seeing St. Paul sometime in the season, and it will be a lot of fun to be able to call the game. Really well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. I'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm our journey, find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and have a safe and happy Labor Day on Monday.